had they not seen the defense fight for them and get back in that game, I think we'd be having a conversation about Lou going across the screen. And I've been a big Lou guy all this time.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of things this season that have made him, whether right or wrong, it's cool to trust your guys like a Von Bell or whatever. But then when you see battle play outside of it, you're like, why would you wait that long? Right. The Zach Carter's like playing that long, and then you get a guy that's about as fat as me and Lawrence Guy coming off the couch out playing this dude. I know we had the injuries and everything like that, but like it's just a major indictment on Tobin, Lou. The front office isn't mirroring up. Why would you draft 11 guys and then you're not playing like a Dejon Anthony or something like that? To me, I was looking at a graphic of the Chiefs the other day where they draft, and I hate bringing them up because I don't want to be like the Chiefs. I ain't trying to compare myself to the Chiefs. I don't even want to talk about the Chiefs. But their draft with Leo Chennault and all them dudes, whatever they had in there, it's a masterclass. But the key function of that draft is that once they knew that they paid Pat Mahomes, they knew that they weren't going to be big players in free agency.
Right.
The Steelers, all these teams that everybody's saying is so much better than the Bengals, none of these teams are big players in free agency. Like I hope everybody knows that. Mm-hmm. And so the Chiefs, remember, they had to get away from Snead, they had to get away from Tyreek Hill, all these different things. But the one thing that they did when they go to these drafts, they play those dudes right away. Mm-hmm. Because you have to figure out, like somebody taking a victory lap on me earlier today was like, well, Burton, I mean, what's up with your boy? I'm like, I would have liked to see that week one, Burton, like no T. Higgins, run him out there and like, let me see what you got, bro. And they did a piece on this with Spags one time. He said, I used that regular season as a gauntlet for all of these guys, young dudes and stuff. I like to see what I got and then get them right. And then by the time we get to the playoffs, they done been through the fire. Right. You're throwing these dudes in now after all of your plans have failed. You went out there with Trent Irwin and Charlie Jones for weeks. Mm-hmm. And now you go week 11 and like, yeah, let's see what you got, Burton. Like, you should have did that week one. And then you would have said, okay, this is what I think he does really well. This is what I don't. Okay, the time is a little off. Let's work on this. After you never even really gave yourself a shot. And they're going to do the same thing all over the roster where like Dejon Anthony should have been like getting snaps. Mm-hmm. How you draft Tanner McLaughlin and Eric All goes down and we're still watching Tanner Hudson? What does Tanner Hudson do for, like I said, the window closed when the risk, the window's always open with Joe Burrow. Let me rephrase that. But the current roster window had closed with his wrist. Mm-hmm. Tanner Hudson does nothing to help out what you're doing right now in the totality and the functionality of us moving forward as a team. Right. You're not able to evaluate. I don't even know what Tanner McLaughlin is. What is he? Do we know? How would I know if I don't get him out there? I believe. Bro, it's sickening, bro. Like, and so they've done that all along. Think about Chase Brown. It took Zach Moss getting hurt for them to give Chase Brown full reins. And guess what? We're still looking for another secondary running back. You traded a 7th round pick. You could have easily drafted a Braylon Allen 5th round, 6th, or Ray Davis, all these running backs that are doing well in the NFL. You could have easily drafted one of them dudes. You give up a 7th round pick. You give up your franchise running back, right? Top 10 running back in the NFL, 2nd all-time in yards. You give him up for nothing. You get a 7th round pick. And then you come back later on, you're trading a 7th round pick, and then Khalil Herbert doesn't even get a one carry? Right. Like, what are they doing? Like, none of this makes sense. And the biggest indictment on when I was saying with the roster stuff, Cam Taylor-Britt, I was very high on coming into the season. I said he would give up a lot of plays. I like to own my L's. That's a guy that I thought was going to play really well this year. So I don't fault the front office. But how could you go 11 weeks of playing this dude? He is the worst giving up yards in the National Football League. He's given up the most touchdowns at 8. And then Newton comes in for 5 minutes. And already is that makes Lou look very bad in his assessment. Mm-hmm. If you can go that long and then you're just like, well, I'm going to go with my guys. And then a guy comes out off the bench that's been sitting there for 11 weeks. All of a sudden, he played better. He probably played better in the 10 minutes that he did in the Chargers game than maybe Cam Taylor-Britt has played all year.
Mm-hmm.
It's rough out here, man.
No, listen, you're speaking facts right now.
The assessment of the players, I feel like that's a organizational flaw. And I feel like that is the thing that we can really pencil in and say, hey, that has to change now, right? I think that you look at these other teams and you see, and I thought you brought up great, why the hell is Burton playing now, right? And the Ravens game is a perfect example of that. The Ravens game in a typical season, you can lose that game and you're fine, right? You're good. But that was a dire game. And you play Jermaine Burton the most snaps he played all season long. 2 4th downs, missed balls to him. Let that happen in week 1. Let that happen in week 2. Let that happen in week 3. And I feel like that's the perfect place where this coaching staff has to take blame for that. And that is whether that's their mindset of, hey, I'm going to roll with Trent Irwin because he gives me the best chance to win in week 2. He gives me the best chance to win in week 3. You're talking about the future. And this is something all Bengals fans can look at and can pencil in and say, hey, this has been a consistent theme time and time again with this Bengals coaching staff.
I could point to a lot of stuff as Zim can, as you can. You should have went out and added a cornerback after Dax Hill went down. You should have added a cornerback before that. You should add a veteran presence at the cornerback position before then. Now you're in a situation you have to add a cornerback. Josh Newton has to play. As bad as Cam Taylor-Britt has been this season, guess what? Oh, well, he has to play. You got to figure something out. Are you going to call Xavier Howard back saying, hey, I know we brought you in recently, but now we're going to give you whatever. Like we need you out here. Are you doing that? And, is it all for naught if you're doing that? There are so many serious questions to be added, which is why I know people probably think I'm just like defending the guy, which is why I kind of go to bat for him a little bit. You lose Cam Sample, right? You lose him as a pass rusher, and then you do nothing to add to the pass rusher room. It's like, but a running back goes out. Zach Moss goes out after Chase Brown has started already overtaking him in the snaps a little bit. Chase Brown goes out. You go out, you add a running back, you add another running back as well. Like you trade for one. But why isn't the defense getting that same attention? You knew what the interior of the defense of line, the question marks were coming into the season. You knew what the issues were after your edge rusher went out. You knew what the questions were after you lost your starting cornerback, who beat out the guy in DJ Turner for the starting job. You knew what it was now after DJ Turner has gone out. But what are you doing to effectively make shit work? I'll be honest with you. I view this season as at a crossroads. I feel like the Bengals are at a crossroads with this season. And I'm going to be judging the next, couple of games just as well as the Bengals organization, or at least I hope the Bengals brass are judging it as well. We talked on State of the Jungle about, potential additions the Bengals can make in the offseason. I'd like to see Dejon Anthony, down the stretch here. I personally love to see that. I'd like to know what Tanner McLaughlin has. You want to make sure you leave no stone unturned going into the offseason. So if you don't make the playoffs like it's looking like right now, you at least know what you need to fix.